Life is going to test you. It's going to throw challenges your way that you didn't see coming. People will disappoint you, situations will frustrate you, and storms will rise when you least expect them. But here's the truth. It's not the storm that decides your future, it's how calm you remain inside it. You see, I've learned over the years that the most powerful person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who can stay calm when everyone else loses control. Calmness is not weakness, it's strength. It's training your mind to stay steady when everything around you is shaking. Because if you can control your mind, you can control your life. That's the real power. I've lived long enough to understand something most people overlook. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is not about sitting still, being passive, or ignoring what's happening around you. No, calmness is a form of power. It's the kind of strength that can carry you through storms when others are falling apart. I've been in moments of pressure, moments where everything was on the line, moments when emotions could have taken control. And I'll tell you this, if you let panic guide you, you lose. If you let fear guide you, you lose. But if you can train your mind to stay calm in the middle of that storm, you win. See, the world will always try to shake you. It will throw distractions at you, negativity at you, unexpected problems at you. People will doubt you, criticize you, even betray you. And if you respond with anger, if you respond with frustration, you're playing their game. But when you remain calm, you're playing your game. Calmness gives you clarity, and clarity gives you power. When I walk into a room, I don't need to be the loudest voice. I don't need to prove myself with noise. I've learned that presence comes from control. People pay attention to the one who doesn't panic, the one who holds their ground when everyone else is losing theirs. That's what leaders do. They don't crumble under pressure. They rise above it. And the way you rise is not by being louder, not by being aggressive, but by staying calm enough to think clearly and act wisely. Let me tell you something I've carried with me throughout my career, throughout my life. Control your mind, or your mind will control you. When challenges come, and they always do, the first battle isn't out there in the world. It's in here, in your head. Your thoughts can either push you into chaos or pull you into calm. And the way you think shapes the way you act. I've faced rejection. I've faced failure. I've faced situations where it looked like everything was falling apart. But I didn't let my emotions run the show. I trained myself to breathe, to slow down, to see the bigger picture. And when you do that, when you keep your calm, you find solutions others can't see. It's easy to get caught up in emotion. It's easy to let frustration, anger, or fear take over. But here's the problem. Emotions are temporary. Decisions are permanent. If you let your emotions control your decisions, you'll regret them. I've made mistakes like that before. We all have. But I've learned when you stay calm, you buy yourself time. You buy yourself the space to think, to respond instead of react. And that little pause, that calm pause, can change everything. Think about it. In sports, the best athletes aren't the ones who panic when the game is on the line. They're the ones who stay cool, who breathe, who execute under pressure. In acting, it's the same. You can't let nerves take control. You have to be calm enough to deliver when the camera is on you, when the lights are on you, when millions are watching. And in life, it's no different. It's your job, your relationships, your dreams. Calmness is the superpower that keeps you steady while the world shakes around you. I'll tell you why calmness is so rare. Because it takes discipline. Anybody can get angry. Anybody can lose their cool. Anybody can react. That's easy. But to remain calm, that takes strength. It takes self-control. It takes practice. It takes training your mind every single day. You don't wait for the storm to come to start training. You prepare yourself in the small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when someone disrespects you, when things don't go your way, you practice calmness there. Because if you can stay calm in the small battles, you'll be ready for the big ones. Calmness doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're smart enough to know that losing your peace is more expensive than proving your point. It means you know your energy is precious and you won't waste it on things that don't move you forward. When you're calm, you conserve your power. You focus it. And focus power, that's unstoppable. So when life tests you, when situations push you, when people try to pull you out of your character, remember this: calmness is not giving up. Calmness is not backing down. Calmness is choosing strength over weakness, control over chaos. Calmness is a superpower. And when you master it, nothing and no one can shake you. I've learned something in my life, and I want to share it with you. Calmness, that ability to stay steady when everything is moving fast around you. It doesn't just show up. You don't just wake up one morning and suddenly have it. No, calmness comes from preparation. It comes from putting in the hours when nobody is watching, doing the work that nobody applauds, and building a foundation so strong that when life tests you, you're ready. You don't panic because you know you've already trained for this moment. You've rehearsed it in your mind. You've built yourself brick by brick. And that preparation gives you the confidence to be calm. When I walk onto a movie set, I don't rely on talent alone. Talent is good, but talent without preparation can't hold up under pressure. I prepare. I study, I rehearse. I dig deep into the role so that when the cameras roll, I don't have to question myself. That's where the calmness comes from. It's not arrogance. It's not ego. It's the confidence of knowing you did the work. You see, people think calmness is just about breathing slow, staying quiet, or hiding your emotions. But real calmness is built long before the situation even arrives. It's built in those hours when you're preparing yourself, when you're disciplined enough to do the hard things, when nobody else is pushing you. You've got to ask yourself, when pressure comes, will I be ready? Will I fold, or will I stand steady? And the answer to that doesn't come in the moment. It comes from what you're doing all along. A soldier doesn't stay calm in battle because he's fearless. He stays calm because he's trained. He's prepared. He's drilled the moves so many times that his body and exactly what to do. And that's what you need to do in your own life. Train yourself. Prepare yourself. So when life comes swinging, you don't lose your balance. I remember early in my career, I would go to auditions and I'd see people nervous, fidgeting, stumbling on their lines. And I'd ask myself, why aren't they ready? And I realized it wasn't that they weren't talented. It's that they weren't prepared. Nerves take over when preparation is missing. But when you've studied that script, when you've practiced those lines until they feel like they're a part of you, then you can walk in calm. You can walk in with a steady mind because you already know who you are and what you're capable of. That's life. The opportunities you want, the challenges you'll face, they don't wait for you to get ready in the moment. They require you to already be ready. And the calmness people admire in others, that unshakable presence, it comes from preparation that nobody else saw. That's the key. Your calmness is connected to your work ethic. You can't separate them. If you want peace in the storm, you've got to prepare yourself before the storm arrives. Sometimes people ask me, how do you stay calm when so much is going on? How do you keep from being overwhelmed? And my answer is simple: I've done the work. I trust the process. I trust God. I trust that my preparation will meet the opportunity. And once you know you've done your part, you don't have to panic. You can walk through fire and still hold your peace because you know deep down you are ready. Now, I'm not saying preparation means everything will go perfectly. No, life doesn't work that way. Things will still go wrong. Plans will still fall apart. But if you've prepared yourself, then even when things don't go your way, you have the strength to adapt, to adjust, and to keep moving forward. You don't collapse under the weight of disappointment because you know preparation has given you more than one way to win. And let me tell you something, calmness doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. When you're calm, you become a source of strength for others. People look at you and they say, if he's not panicking, then maybe we're going to be okay. Leaders are remembered not because they avoided storms, but because they prepared for them and stayed calm when they came. And that calmness, it spreads. It changes the atmosphere. So train yourself. Don't just dream about success, prepare for it. Don't just hope to stay calm in tough times. Build that calmness through discipline and preparation. Because when your time comes, and you won't need to scramble or doubt yourself. You'll be ready. And in that readiness, you'll find a calmness that no storm can take away. When I talk about training your mind to stay calm, I want you to understand something very important. Your emotions don't control you. Discipline does. I've been in rooms where the pressure was so heavy, you could almost feel it in the air. I've been tested, pushed, and even provoked. And in those moments, I realized something about life. It's not what happens to you that defines you. It's how you respond. And too many people lose themselves because they let their emotions take the wheel. Anger, pride, ego. Those things are dangerous drivers. They'll take you places you don't want to go. But when you step back, breathe, and let discipline guide you, suddenly you're in control again. I'm not saying it's easy. It takes training. It takes practice. It takes moments of failure where you catch yourself reacting in ways you wish you hadn't. I've been there. I've spoken too soon. I've let frustration show. I've allowed my emotions to cloud my judgment. And when I look back, every time I let emotions win, I lost something. Maybe I lost respect. Maybe I lost an opportunity. Maybe I just lost a little bit of peace inside myself. But when I held my ground, when I stayed calm, when I let discipline decide instead of anger, I always walked away stronger. See, emotions are natural. You're human. I'm human. We all feel them. But feelings are not commands. Just because you feel anger doesn't mean you have to lash out. Just because you feel fear doesn't mean you have to quit. Just because your ego is bruised doesn't mean you have to prove yourself to the wrong people. Discipline is the voice that says, calm down. Think. Respond with wisdom, not weakness. That's the voice you've got to train yourself to listen to. Life will put you in situations where you're tempted to lose control. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone disrespects you. Someone lies about you. Someone doubts you. And in that moment, your emotions will flare up. Your pride will want to fight back. Your anger will want to explode. But that's the test. The test isn't whether you feel those things. The test is whether you can rise above them. And trust me, when you can walk away calm, when you can speak with control, when you can respond with discipline, people notice. You gain respect, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you stayed steady when others expected you to break. Calmness is a kind of power that comes from discipline. Think about the greatest leaders, the most respected figures in history. They weren't the ones who lost their temper every time things went wrong. They were the ones who stayed steady, who thought before they acted, who refused to let emotions run their decisions. And that same discipline is available to you and me. You don't need to be famous to practice it. You don't need to be rich to own it. You just need to decide that no matter what happens, you will not let your emotions dictate your destiny. I'll tell you this, people will try to test your patience. They'll push you, they'll provoke you, because they want to see if you'll break. Don't give them that satisfaction. Every time you stay calm, every time you remain disciplined, you're proving something, not to them, but to yourself. You're proving that you're stronger than your impulses, wiser than your anger, and greater than the moment. And when you live like that consistently, you develop a reputation, a presence, an energy that says, this person can't be shaken. So when life gets tough, remind yourself emotions are temporary, but the consequences of your reaction can last a lifetime. Stay disciplined. Breathe before you speak. Think before you act. Hold your ground before you explode. Because the calmest person in the room is usually the strongest. And when you master that, you don't just control your emotions, you control your future. Silence has been one of the greatest teachers in my life. People often mistake silence for weakness. They think that if you don't respond, you've been defeated, or that you don't have the words to fight back. But I've learned that silence, when used with intention, is one of the strongest responses a person can give. Because when you choose silence, when you choose calmness instead of chaos, you're telling the world that you are in control. You're showing that you don't let outside noise dictate your inner peace. I remember times in my life when I was provoked, when I was challenged, when people doubted me, criticized me, or even tried to push me off balance. And the easy thing to do was to respond with anger, to shout, to fight back, to prove myself right in that moment. But I realized something very powerful. Every time I reacted emotionally, I gave away my power. Every time I lost my calm, I put myself in someone else's hands. But when I stayed quiet, when I stayed calm, I owned the moment. That silence was me telling myself, you don't need their approval. You don't need to fight every battle, because peace of mind is worth more than winning an argument. Silence is not about saying nothing. Silence is about saying everything without words. When you walk into a room and you don't need to announce yourself, your presence speaks for you. When you're under pressure and you don't lose your cool, people notice. When you keep your calm while others lose control, that's when leadership is revealed. Because calmness is contagious. Your silence, your control, it shifts the energy of the room. People begin to trust you, to look to you, because they know you won't crack under pressure. I've faced failures in my career, setbacks that could have broken me. And I've had critics. I've had people who doubted if I would ever make it, who spoke words meant to discourage me. But instead of answering back to every voice, instead of trying to silence every critic, I let my work do the talking. That's what silence really is, allowing your results, your consistency, your character to speak louder than your words ever could. You see, in life, not every argument deserves your energy. Not every situation requires your reaction. Sometimes the best move you can make is to stay quiet, let time reveal the truth, and let your calmness be your shield. Because the person who can hold their tongue, who can keep their emotions under control, is the person who wins in the long run. I've seen people destroy relationships, careers, opportunities, all because they couldn't stay calm in the moment. They reacted instead of responding. They spoke when silence would have been the wiser choice. And once those words are out, once that reaction is made, you can't take it back. But silence gives you space to think. Silence gives you time to choose your words, to choose your actions. Silence gives you the ability to rise above the noise instead of drowning in it. I learned that in the hardest moments of my life, when I wanted to lash out, when I wanted to prove myself right, when I wanted to respond immediately, that's when I had to train my mind the most. I had to tell myself, breathe, wait, let your calmness guide you. And every time I chose silence, every time I chose calmness, I walked away stronger, with more clarity, with more respect for myself. The world we live in now makes it even harder to stay silent. Everybody wants to respond instantly, to prove themselves on social media, to show the world they have something to say. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Because silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about your peace more. Silence doesn't mean you don't have strength. It means you are strong enough not to waste it. So if you want to know one of the secrets to staying calm in any situation, it's this: embrace the power of silence. Not every situation requires your voice. Not every challenge requires your reaction. And not every battle is meant for you to fight. Train your mind to recognize when to speak and when to stay silent, when to react and when to let go. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of wisdom. It's full of strength. And if you learn to master it, if you learn to let your calmness and your silence speak louder than your words, you'll realize you've gained a power that very few people ever discover. When I talk about calmness attracting success, I'm not saying it's a mystical force that magically brings blessings into your life. I'm telling you from experience, from watching, from living, that people naturally gravitate toward those who keep their composure when life gets tough. Nobody wants to follow the person who panics at the first sign of pressure. Nobody is inspired by the one who breaks down every time life doesn't go their way. The world looks to leaders who stand firm when everything is falling apart. And that doesn't mean they don't feel fear. It doesn't mean they don't have doubts. It means they know how to master their emotions so that fear doesn't master them. Calmness is influence, and influence brings opportunity, and opportunity opens the door to success. I've been in situations in my career where everything around me felt overwhelming. The lights were on, the cameras were rolling, the pressure was heavy, and the expectation was high. And I could have lost myself in the nerves, in the doubt, in the noise. But the one thing I learned early on is that the audience, the director, the people watching, they all feed off the energy you carry. If I walked into a room scattered, nervous, out of control, people would sense that and they would lose confidence in me. But if I carried myself with calmness, even when my heart was racing, they believed in me, they trusted me, and that trust created opportunities for me to succeed. Calmness builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every success story. Think about the greatest leaders in history. They weren't the loudest. They weren't the ones screaming when challenges came. They were the ones who spoke with a steady voice, who moved with confidence, who inspired calm in others just by their presence. That's what makes people follow you. That's what makes doors open. That's what makes opportunities flow. Calmness is contagious. If you can hold it, you can pass it to others. And that creates an environment where people believe in you and in themselves. Success is never built in chaos. It's built in stability and vision and in the quiet strength of a calm mind. Now, let me be clear. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're passive or lazy or detached. It means you choose not to let emotions run your decisions. It means when anger comes, you pause. When fear comes, you breathe. When doubt comes, you don't let it control the outcome. That kind of control is rare, and rare qualities always attract attention. People want to work with you. People want to be around you. People want to invest in you because they know you fall apart under pressure. And success in every area of life, whether it's business, relationships, or personal growth, depends on that stability. I remember moments when I was younger, when I would lose my cool, when I would let situations frustrate me, when I would react instead of respond. And I can tell you, those moments never led me to success. They led me to regret. They cost me opportunities. They damaged relationships. But the more I grew, the more I trained my mind to stay calm, the more I realized that the right opportunities started to find me. People wanted me on their team because they knew I wasn't going to crack under pressure. They knew would bring a steady energy. And that energy, that calmness, brought me closer to success than any talent alone could. Success is not just about talent. It's not just about hard work. It's also about how you carry yourself. You can be the most gifted person in the room, but if you panic, if you crumble, if you lose yourself every time things get difficult, people will not trust you with responsibility. But if you carry calmness, if you project stability, if you can remain grounded while everything shakes, people will believe in you. They will give you chances others don't get. And those chances, those doors, those opportunities, that's where success is born. So when I tell you calmness attracts success, I'm telling you to look at your own life and ask yourself, how do I carry myself when pressure comes? Do I let the storm control me, or do I steady myself and control how I respond? The answer to that question could be the difference between staying where you are and stepping into the success you've been chasing. Train your mind to stay calm, because calmness is not only strength, it's a magnet. It pulls the right people, the right opportunities, and the right success into your life.